Until 1954, public schools were racially segregated, meaning that black and white children could be forced to attend different schools. In each of the cases, minors of the Negro race, through their legal representatives, seek the aid of courts in obtaining admission to the public schools of their community on a non-segregated basis. In each instance, they had been denied admission to schools attended by white children under laws requiring or permitting segregation according to race. This segregation was alleged to deprive the plaintiffs of the equal protections of the law under the 14th Amendment. A Supreme Court ruling from 1892, Plessy v. Ferguson, legitimized these children's separate but equal educations.
In 1950, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People asked a group of African American parents that included Oliver Brown to attempt to enroll their children in all-white schools, with the exception that they would be turned away. Oliver attempted to do so with Linda, who was in the 3rd grade at the time and barred from enrollment at Summer Elementary. The strategy was for the civil rights group to file a lawsuit on behalf of the 13 families who represented different states. Linda Brown was born on February 20, 1942 in Topeka, Kansas. Because she was forced to travel a significant distance to elementary school due to racial segregation, her father was one of the plaintiffs in the case Brown v. Board of Education, with the Supreme Court ruling in 1954 that school segregation was unlawful.
Peaceful protests arose during this time period for the sake of the children against segregation.
By the time of the ruling, Linda Brown was in junior high, a grade level that had already been integrated before the 1954 court ruling. The family moved to Springfield, Missouri in 1959. Oliver Brown died 2 years later, and his widow moved the girls back to Topeka. Linda Brown went on to attend Washburn and Kansas State universities and had a family. She went through a divorce and later became a widow. After her second husband's death,
by the late 1970s, Brown spoke of feeling exploited by the amount of media attention given to the case, with there being limited awareness that she's a human being as opposed to a lofty historical figure.
62 years after the Supreme Court's historic Brown v. Board of Education decisions are increasingly segregated by race and class, according to new findings by Congress watchdog agency that echoes what advocates for low-income and minority students have said for years. U.S. Government Accountability Office investigators found that from the 2000-2001 to the 2013-2014 school year, both the percentages of K-12 public schools in high poverty and the percentages comprised of most African American or Hispanic students grew significantly, more than doubling, from 7,009 schools to 15,089 schools. The percentage of all schools with so-called racial or social-economic isolation grew from 9% to 60%.
Linda Brown was the child associated with the lead name in the landmark case Brown v. Board of Education, which led to the outlawing of U.S. school segregation in 1954.